proyecto la presentación y dejo aquí con Vanina.
Well, I'm just waiting for my presentation to load. I would like to thank everyone for being here. Adex and I are very excited to sponsor this event. This is our first thing in Latin America, so yay! Something else that I'm seeing right now is my presentation looks a little bit messed up, so I'm sorry about that. But that's what happens when you use different operating systems and transfer a Mac presentation to a PowerPoint, etc. So yeah, I apologize for that. It looks really nice on a Mac, but yeah, not so much here. I think that Cristobal introduced me. I don't understand a word of Spanish, for which I apologize again. But yeah, a few words for me. I am the Chief Marketing Officer of Adex Network. I have been with the company since day one. And before that, my team and I were working on a different project called Streamio. That's a platform for aggregating video content. And why I'm telling you that, the thing is, we wanted to monetize Streamio, that video aggregation platform, through ads, obviously, the most no-brainer solution. So we started looking into different ad-serving networks, into different solutions, and none of them really checked all the boxes on our list. None of them were good enough for us. A lot of them had security vulnerabilities, or they weren't delivering the revenue that we were expecting. So at one point, we figured out, oh, the advertising industry is really broken today. I myself come from a background in marketing. I have always been the person pouring enormous budgets into the bottomless pit that is Google ads or Facebook ads. And this research, trying to monetize Streamio, kind of helped us isolate the biggest inefficiencies of the advertising industry. So being a super young and super excited team, we figured if what we're looking is not on the market, well, we're just going to do it. So this is how we came up with Adex. Adex is functioning as a D-app, as a decentralized app today, but very soon we're rolling it out as a protocol. So basically anyone who wants to use decentralized advertising can implement it within their ecosystem. And it's really excited. So yeah, as I said, Adex is tackling some of the biggest issues of the advertising industry: ad fraud, unclear reporting, middlemen, unnecessary fees. These are all the issues that we're trying to solve. Are we going to be successful? Well, we hope so. At this point, it's too early just to say, but we're making serious waves. So we launched in February last year after having getting funded in June of last year, 2017. Why did we launch in 2017? Well, first of all, it was time for us to, to start monetizing the other platform. It was time to find us the solution. But also, 2017 was the first year in history, in the history of advertising, when digital outspent TV. And for those of you who are not in this space, this is big. This is really big. And the reason for that is that TV has always been the king of advertising, even though it's weird, it's hard to measure exactly. And in a space that is moving towards performance-oriented marketing and towards measuring each and every cent that you spend, TV is not ideal, but it also has great impact. So in 2017, the businesses finally figured out that, yeah, it's time to move to digital. It's time to move to different mediums that we can measure exactly. And that's what happened. By the end of this year, digital advertising will account for about 40% of the entire advertising global market. And that includes outdoor, that includes print, that includes TV, that includes guerrilla marketing. So yeah, as you can see, 2017 was kind of a gold time, a golden moment to start an advertising project. So yeah, if you're interested in more statistics and more data about that, feel free to approach me after the presentation. I'll be happy to provide it to you. I'm not going to bore you with more with more charts now. Oh yeah, okay, so a few more numbers. Again, this looks so much nicer on a Mac, but I mentioned ad fraud, and these are just a few numbers that I think look impressive on a slide. In 2017, more than $16 billion, that's billion with a B, were lost to ad fraud. Just to give you a little bit of a reference, the GDP of Senegal is less than that. Like an entire country, okay? Maybe not the most developed one, but still a country. That is a lot. Then we have 16, again, that's the data for 2017, but we had 615 million devices with ad blockers installed on them. And half of those devices are mobile phones, like mobile devices, phones, tablets. You know that it is not so easy to install an ad blocker on a mobile device, right? And yet, 308 million people figured out a way to put an ad blocker on their phone and activate it. Not ideal for advertisers. So yeah, we figured out, okay, my GIFs are playing, so that's good. And the little Joseph life. So yeah, we figured out that was the time to start doing something and to start working on Adex. We started looking into different solutions. Blockchain was the technology that kind of gave the most obvious answers to a lot of the issues that we were tackling, and we decided to do an ICO. Now, when we did our ICO, the recommended time of preparing such a campaign was approximately 3 to 5 months. We figured, ain't nobody got time for that. So we kind of said, let's do it, and we rushed. We only prepared our ICO campaign in about a little over, actually, a month, a little over 30 days. Everyone was telling us, you guys are crazy. You're never going to do it. This is just not enough time. And we said, well, we've got nothing to lose, so we're just going to try and do it. And why did we rush so much? To be completely honest with you, I'm not that familiar with the blockchain market here in Latin America, but I think that we're speaking of a similar situation here. The thing is, back then, there were so many projects and so many ICO popping up every day, one after another, that at one point, we figured we only have a limited window of opportunity, and we didn't want to miss it. So this is why we rushed, and we had our ICO. What were the results of the ICO? You'll find out from another slide later on. So I apologize if my presentation is too simplistic, but I tried to keep it light and fun, especially now that I'm doing it before lunch, and I know that a lot of you are probably hungry and cranky. Again, thank you for being here. So I'm gonna guide you through the steps that we took to do this really quick, like really blitz ICO, if you wish. The first step I've actually named step 0, not step 1, because it took place before those 30 days that I'm talking about for planning the actual crowd sale campaign. We spent about a year researching the project's viability. We spent a year analyzing the competitive landscape, like who are our competitors? Were we trying to establish ourselves as the first crypto project in this space? Or were there other projects? Were there going to be other ICOs? Turns out, yes, there were quite a few other projects dealing with a similar issue. Sadly, not many of them made it to market. But that's what we started for, and I think that this due diligence is extremely, extremely important, because it also gave us a very clear idea. It helped us have a clear idea of how we wanted to structure Adex, what were the problems that we were going to focus on, and how were we going to use blockchain to solve those. We moved on to putting the team together. And again, here Adex had a huge edge. We had a huge advantage. And the reason for that is that we were working on a different project before that. So we already had the people on the team. And we just put together a group of people that were working on Streamio, and we said, okay, from today on, we're going to be working on Adex. This is going to be the dedicated team of Adex. And I don't know if you can see well from this screenshot, but some people were concerned we didn't have enough developers. on our team. And if you're preparing an ICO, I think that this is a concern that will be coming up a lot. People will be asking you, the community will be asking you, why don't you have more developers on your team? Like, what's wrong with you? Again, we already had this team together, so we knew what were the capabilities of those people. We knew how much they can do in what time. So this is why we figured 3 developers were completely sufficient. But if you're preparing to launch an ICO crowdfunding campaign today, I think you should be prepared for that question. Then we moved on to the white paper. And again, I was the one in charge of the white paper. And trust me, I don't think I've ever done something harder in my life. And why was it so hard? Because we needed to have just the right balance between technical to illustrate that we have the technical capabilities, that we have the skills necessary to execute the project, but also non-technical so that anyone could understand it. Because back in 2017, the general investor was not necessarily technically savvy, and I think that's also the case today. So something else that, I want to focus on is the bounty campaign. We run bounty campaigns that we outlined in the white paper. So basically, we rewarded people for tweeting about a project, for getting the buzz going, for going on social media, telling their friends, spreading the news. So at the end of the campaign, they all got a little bit of ADX tokens. Moving on, naturally, we started working on establishing our presence, building the websites, setting up a Facebook page, a Twitter profile, Medium. We also had Slack, which is not listed on the presentation because we had to shut it down for security reasons later on. So again, insider tip: if you're doing an ICO, don't do Slack. I would recommend Telegram or any other channel, but Slack is very vulnerable to scammers. We did the announcement on Bitcoin Talk and other message boards about ICOs. And again, we started getting feedback from people, and that feedback loop that we established was particularly useful for us, particularly valuable. And it helped us tweak the project and lead to a successful ICO. The next step was getting the advisory board together. And we took our time doing that, and we were very careful with that because, I'm going to be honest with you, we really wanted to monetize the cash on the social credit of the people advising on the project. So we not only needed those people to be really good at what they do and to be able to guide us through the process, but we also needed them to have the social recognition so that we can increase the reach of our potential audience. Later on, we also got a group of community managers together, and that was, I think, the best thing that we could do. Because the truth is, in a global society like today, you're going to have people from all over the world asking you questions at any given time of the day. And you need to be there because the community, I mean, maybe not today so much, but back in a year and a half ago, the community was so critical that even if you didn't reply to a tweet in like a couple of hours, there would be, oh, exits come, they've gone. So we had to struggle with that. So we had to put together a group of people to help us with answering questions and making sure that everyone knew we were there and we were working. And boy, were we working. We weren't sleeping because we had so little time to prepare this thing. But sometimes the community needs to see you on social media to make sure that this is happening. Moving on to the smart contract. Again, that's something else that we took a lot of time doing and also have it audited, because this is crucial for the success of a project like that. And I'm just going to give you an example. A few days after our ICO, as many other projects, we put our money into a parity multi-sig wallet. And if you have been following the industry, then you know that just a few days after the ICO, we lost all our money to a hack. It was not ideal. Fortunately, it turned out that our money was captured by a group of white hat hackers, but 3 other projects lost all of their funding because of this hack. The white hat hackers noticed the vulnerability, they noticed that some wallets were getting drained, so they drained all the rest of the wallets to make sure they can return the money. And we got them back. It was fantastic. But, we had a few days when we thought, did we just do this for nothing? Oh. Not ideal, again. So yeah, if you're doing an ICO, get your smart contract audited. It's expensive, but it's worth every single cent you're going to pay for that. Then, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that's applicable so much today, but back then it was very useful to get your ICO listed on all the different ICO trackers to get, the most of attention, because there was so many projects going on. We started generating buzz. We already had the buzz going from the bounty campaigns, but at that point we already started putting out blog posts. We started going to events, talking to people, organizing different meetups. And it was challenging as well because, we didn't have time. So we had like a very limited window to spread the news and get people excited. The last step was, I think this is not working anymore. Can we do something about, Okay, so the last step was obviously having the actual ICO. The day of the ICO, we had everyone at the office, even the office manager. Everyone was on our social media channels, ready to answer questions. And then the contributions started coming in. And it was surreal, I'm telling you. It felt like we were kids on a roller coaster. And it was super exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. We had given ourselves a time frame of 30 days to collect the 40,000 ether that we wanted to collect. That was our hard cap, 40,000 ether, which was approximately $12 million back then. We thought that was realistic. We thought we would get all the money. We didn't think that we would get it so fast, because that's what happened. Okay. We got 40,000 ether in less than 8 hours. And we were so tired, we couldn't even appreciate it fully. But we still took some time to celebrate and pat ourselves on the shoulder for a job well done. Now, I have about 7 minutes left, so I'm going to use this time to share with you my musings on whether what we did about a year and a half ago is possible today. And I'm not sure it is. It possibly depends on the legislation and the country where you're doing your project. But to be quite honest with you, in Europe and in the United States, what we did back in 2017 would not be possible today. And why is that? First of all, regulation is changing. Obviously, people are trying to regulate ICOs and this type of funding. So we are slowly transitioning from ICOs to STOs, so security token offerings. And because there are so many restrictions on doing an STO, a lot of projects would just simply choose to go with the traditional way of funding, like a venture capitalist. And that's not bad. That's not bad, because it definitely has its advantages. You can definitely get a level of guidance that we didn't have by doing an ICO. The community is also changing a lot. People are evolving, and also a big chunk of the buying power of the community is already spent. So you have a community that is a lot more critical. People would be contributing smaller amounts to more projects, to diversify their portfolios. So that's also tricky. Again, marketing, that has changed so much. Back when we did our ICO, you could do a successful token sale with a marketing budget of $200,000 to $400,000, which is still a lot, but it's doable. Today, I think you should probably look at 800,000 upwards. Again, I'm talking about Europe and the US. So this has changed. Also, we are not marketing. Back then, we were marketing the actual token generation campaign, so the actual ICO. Today, you can't do that anymore, I think. In my personal opinion, today, if you wanna do an ICO, you have to market the underlying product or service that you're offering. So you have to have a prototype, because people are getting more and more critical, and they want to see something before they put their money there. And also, we're transitioning back to like more traditional forms of marketing, good branding, strong PR, stuff that didn't really matter. So, it mattered in a different way about a year and a half ago. So, back then we would have paid for a specialized ICO marketing service. Today, you just hire a marketing firm, and you make sure that they're good. And of course, the technology is also changing a lot. You know, we're talking about technology that simply didn't exist a year and a half ago because things are changing so fast that, you know, it's really, really hard to keep up. And yeah, this is what I think about the viability of what we did back in 2017, because I always say that the moment we did our ICO was both the golden age of ICOs, and it was also the Wild West of ICOs, has the gif of that lady trying to, I don't know what she's trying to shoot. But yeah, so I would be very happy to talk to some of you, especially to people who are preparing to launch an ICO. I would be very happy to hear your opinion and, you know, share insight on how ICOs work in Latin America. So if you have a chance, we have a booth outside. Find me after the presentation, or of course you can always shoot me an email. I'll be very happy to answer. And now I think that I see that we've got approximately 4 minutes for questions. So if anyone has a question.
¿Alguno tiene una pregunta? ¿La podemos traducir si es que alguien tiene alguna pregunta? ¿No?
Yeah, I think we have a question
¿Sí?
up there. Yeah.
How many services do you gather on your platform that you can exchange with?
I'm afraid I didn't quite understand your question. What do you mean?
On your
services?
exchange, on Adex, how many people are working right now? Like,
Oh, okay.
are transacting on Adex?
Right now we have about 400 signups on the Adex DApp. 400, and I'll, you know, this is an oversight of ours, but we haven't really developed our inside, like in-house reporting. So I don't know how many of those companies are advertisers or publishers or both, because you can use the same account to sign up as a publisher and an advertiser. And right now I only see them as Ethereum addresses. So like, I don't know which is the company behind that Ethereum address. But yeah, about 400. It's the adoption process has been a little bit slow because our major market is traditional advertising and media agencies, and they're not very crypto savvy. So it's a process of educating them how to start using crypto as well.
¿Hay alguna otra pregunta? ¿No?
Well, in that case, I would like to thank you once again for bearing with me speaking a foreign language on a hungry stomach, and I hope to see you all around the conference. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Vanina, por tu exposición.